And if you'd just given Sanguine what he wanted weeks ago, then hundreds of ponies would still be alive, Citrine retorted with a sweep of her hoof. I heard the DJ talking about you, your noble sacrifices for other ponies. Well, how many ponies have died because you've hung on to whatever he wants? Hundreds? Or are you up to thousands now? He's a monster, Glory objected. And what is she? Citrine demanded as she pointed a hoof at me. Since she showed up around the hoof, everything's gone from bad to worse. We didn't have Griffin Mercs, monster ponies, and bounty hunters attacking us every other week till she turned up. If she hasn't killed folks on her own, then she's gotten everything stirred up. Citrine, that's enough, Caprice said, now with an edge in her voice. Blackjack didn't ask for any of this to happen. No, but she sure was willing to shed rivers of blood to keep it going, the Orange Mare said, and worse, more of the ponies listening looked angry. What's so damn special that he wants that you can't give up? I hung my head, her words echoing in my ears. Was all of this really my fault? If I'd just handed it over at the beginning, could I have prevented all this? Why don't you just give it up? Do you even imagine what she's been through to help every pony in the hoof? Glory demanded. Can you even imagine? Oh, shut up, Turkey. Go back to the clouds. You can't imagine what she's done to life here in the hoof, Citrine countered. Dozens of half-hearts dead in a war she started. The fillies are gone because of her. The rangers blown to pieces. So I want to know what the hell she has that's worth more than all those lives. It's the key to Equestria, I shouted over the din, and even Citrine went silent. It's the key to firing every megaspell still charged. It unlocks every dirty secret weapon from 2 centuries ago. I'd let Sanguine make an army of monster ponies. And that's just Sanguine. My voice fell as I sat down hard. For all I know, it's the key to getting into the core. Or something even worse, I said as I closed my eyes. Blackjack, P21 said as he put a hoof on my shoulder. No, P21. She has a point, I said, and I looked at Citrine out of the corner of my eye. Holding on to this has cost me every pony in my stable, save 2. It's forced me to kill dozens due to a stupid bounty. It's thrown one of the deadliest ponies ever known against me. And then I looked at her and snapped. You think that I haven't thought of just giving it up, handing it over? Maybe I would have, if you'd told me to a month ago that I'd lose both eyes and all 4 legs over it, or lose almost every pony I knew. But I didn't. And once I found out what it could do, I shook my head and rose to my hooves, stepping towards the Orange Mare and staring into her yellow eyes. Do you want Sanguine to have that kind of power? Or Red Eye? Or some pony even worse than both of them? Because that's what's at stake. I had to give Citrine credit. She kept her eyes locked on mine for half a minute before she said slowly, That might be true. All I know is that I lost a mother when Deus came after you, a brother when the Half-Hearts fought the Rangers, and a little sister when... She stopped and looked up at the burning rooms building before sniffling. And, sorry, any one of them was worth 1,000 keys to Equestria. With that, she turned and walked to join the mares watching rooms burn. Caprice trotted beside me. You should probably go. I looked at her and saw the apology in her eyes. Yeah. Did they go north? I asked as all of us trot out the main melted gate. I knew the answer, and I pretended I could feel my heart rise in my chest. I found a tin can in the gutter and bit down, trying to get my teeth to soften it so I could chew. Caprice made a face. Clearly, the sight of fingers on the end of my limbs and me eating tin were turning my visit a little surreal. 3 or 4 hours ago, Caprice said. We'd killed off about 20 or 30 of their foot soldiers before the monsters got into the fray. They had a pony who breathed fire and another who exploded. After that, we were falling back. But then, The griffins in power armor were getting pretty impatient. They looked ready to waste Sanguine themselves. Nasty bastards. Red Eye's got a couple in his employ, I said as we trot out back outside. I felt Citrine's eyes on my back, but I glanced back and saw her yellow eyes turn towards the burning building. Psycho Shy said Sanguine was in deep shit. Caprice nodded. He is. If you do nothing, I think they'll waste him. I can't wait. They're going to chapel, I said softly. Fighting griffins and monster ponies. I needed something. A plan. Some sort. Then I looked at her for a long moment. Will you help me? Caprice returned my gaze. If you promise me you'll kill the son of a mule? I do. You're not the first I've made that promise to, I answered. I told her what I needed, and she nodded. It was going to cost us a serious chunk of caps, and that was with our discount. When she finished taking my order, I nodded my head towards the small encampment. What's their story? Is that where Sanguine's guys made camp? No. They're followers of the Prophet, Caprice replied with clear distaste. Bunch of wackos thinking they're going to find some sort of paradise in the core. Do they? I think I'll go have a chat with them, I said, then looked at the peach pony as she turned away. Caprice. She looked back in concern. I'm sorry. I only hoped I imagined P21 grinding his teeth like that. I'm sorry I didn't talk to you back when we were trying to make flank more secure. I really thought you were just pretending not to know who I was, she said with a little half-smile. Yeah, well, this whole thinking thing is really challenging for me, I said with a rueful smile. She looked sad and regretted as she smiled back. I'll talk to Scalpel and see what you need. Shouldn't be more than half an hour, Caprice said in a polite tone of deference, then stopped. Blackjack. She looked evasive for a moment. About Deus? It's old news, Caprice. He's dead. Ulcery is scraping up Brahmin turds. There's nothing else to say, I said with a smile. She opened her mouth, then closed it again. Her eyes slid away. Yeah, sure. Sorry. She gave a little smile. I'll get your stuff. Oh, and if you got any grease lying around, we could use it, Scotch piped up, pointing at the wagon. Damn thing wobbles and whines worse than blackjack after a crate of wild Pegasus. I do not wobble and whine when drunk. I have it on good authority that I'm undefeatable while drunk out of my gourd, I said with a prim nod. Of course, once it all metabolized. Don't ask about the bathtub, P21 said with a shudder. I'll be saying hi to your new neighbors, I said with a glance over at the collection of tents. Please don't tell me you're going to make enemies with a new bunch of ponies, Glory said with a sigh. I'm just going to talk, I snorted. I don't make enemies with every group of ponies I cross in the hoof. Fallen Arch, Rampage said with a small roll of her eyes. The Flashers, Burners, technically Reapers too, though that's our special edition. You certainly didn't make a very good impression with the Enclave intelligence when you ran across them, Glory pointed out. And you nearly speared Triage through the throat after she saved you at the collegiate, P21 added. I think it would be better if we did not add how the goddess feels about you, Lacuna murmured. I felt something winding up in my brain, like a wire that was drawn too taut that was about to snap. I was trying to do better. Really, it wasn't my fault I met enemies as easily as sneezing. Okay, fine. I'm going to walk over there, say hi, and probably meet another group of ponies who want to kill me, I said with an indignant snort, lowering my head as I grumbled to myself. Okay. Good enough for me, Rampage said as she trotted up next to me and grinned back at my friends. What? I don't mind ponies shooting at her. Lot less boring than all that negotiating stuff. The two of us trotted towards the tents, and Rampage asked quietly, "How's Scotch holding up?" "I don't know," she asked. I asked as I looked over at her. She seemed fine in Ten Pony. "She was a mess in Ten Pony. When you died, I had to go out and pick a fight with Smolicorns and what they call raiders there just to get away from her," Rampage said with a worried look. "She's trying to put on a brave face now that you're back, but I think she still blames herself. She's also scared to death of male ponies now." "Huh?" I frowned. They didn't touch her. The thought froze me into my hooves. Did they? Had I missed one and didn't hear it? Rampage snorted. "Blackjack, she didn't have to be raped. They worked you over for an hour and she heard it all. I think the only buck she can be around at this moment is P-21. Rampage looked back to where Scotch, Glory, and Lacuna were fixing the weapon. "Pretty sure she wets the bed." I sighed, ears drooping. "Great. Another thing I need to address." "Or you could have P-21 talk to her about it. I would talk to her myself. I've gone through a plowing more than a few times. But if she starts bawling..." The striped pony gave a sickly smile before shrugging. "You've been raped." I blinked and received yet another, "You're being stupid again, Blackjack. Look, was this something from Twist or something else? I couldn't imagine any pony raping Rampage." "I told you I had," she said, and I wanted to kick myself for forgetting. How do you forget that? She snorted and shook her head in my laps. "Lots of ponies in the wasteland have been raped. Mostly mares, but bucks too. Flashers are notorious for it." I sighed and looked in the direction of the air station. "When I was pried out of the wreckage at Marimare, I was in a blank state. I was also a hole. The ghouls who kept me pimped my ass out to every buck with a twitchy ball sack. Celeste only knows how I didn't get knocked up. Maybe I did and just killed the foal. Like hope," she said in that horrible, fragile voice. "One day, these two ghouls got bored and sold me to the folk that got Paradise started. After a while, though, I figured out that explosive collars aren't much of a deterrent when you can regrow your head. I busted out, and I was on my own again. Bonesaw and Scalpel were kind enough to win me over. The first two didn't try to inseminate me for caps." "Then how are you so normal?" I mean, I stammered as she looked at me like I was an idiot. Again. Which, to be fair,